Now, of course, moving on from that, from the initial idea of the plan which you have actually done, you need to read sources critically. In other words, when you are reading, you need to read and criticize. How to read a source critically and the manner of reading? First, you need to read a key text in the field intensively. What does that mean? You need to choose the major texts that are published in your field, in the translation studies, in the area that you have chosen, and you need to read these key texts intensively. In other words, in depth. The second thing is you need to reread this information. Rereading the information to see if it's giving you any new information. Rereading the text will give you if it gives you new information. The third thing is when you are reading critically and in the manner of your reading, you need to read the summary, the gist of what's being said in the text in order to understand the main points or the main proposals being given by the scholar. The fourth step in this kind of critical reading of these sources that are in your field is that you need to learn how to skim facts and figures or scan them. In other words, you look at them, you know these are already established as facts and figures. Now, the second thing is that when you are reading the texts or the sources or the books that you are reading, you read, let's say, for example, source A and source B to give you your own reaction to them, whether you agree with them or whether you are convinced of their ideas or of their argument. If you are convinced of their argument and if you are convinced or you agree with their argument. Secondly, you might disagree with their arguments. So source A and source B, maybe you don't agree with them. So you need to read in that way, as if you are conversing, as if you are talking to these books by agreeing and disagreeing. The third element is whether you find an important point in your view that one of the sources has overlooked, has not paid or focused upon that much, and you need to focus on it more. So it's up to you to decide on focusing on this very important point that you have found in your view, which one of the sources has rather overlooked or rather not focused upon or concentrated upon well. Another very important thing when you're reading a book or a scholar or a journal by a scholar is that you need to write notes. It is extremely important to write notes about any source that you read. Because when you are reading, if you don't write notes and at the top of the page you write next to each note that you're writing, it's bibliographical information, including page numbers, then later on you might find that some of the quotations you don't know who said them, by whom, and in which book, and what are the page numbers, and what are the dates, and so on. So it's important to write the notes, write the page numbers of these notes, where you found them, which book, what are the page numbers, what's the date. These are very important, dates and page numbers and information, bibliographical information about that particular note or comment that you have written from the book that you're reading. Of course, also you can write notes about what you're reading and give information, and also you can get direct quotations. But these direct quotations, not all the time you need them. You know, for direct quotations, you don't all the time need them. You need them only, and they are important only if they are you want to get them directly writing the exact wording of that particular scholar. You know, you want to write the exact words of that scholar. You don't want to paraphrase what they said, but you want to be direct. Of course, you can do either. Sometimes you might be able to, sometimes you might need to paraphrase. And sometimes, I mean, it doesn't have to be all the time direct quotation. You can paraphrase other people's opinions, other scholars' views as well. So you can actually paraphrase their views, or write their views direct as a direct quotation. Direct quotation means you put the quotation marks at the beginning and end of their words, because you need to separate their words from your words. In the paraphrasing, you rewrite what they said in your own words, but you refer to the pages where they said such an idea or such a concept. So paraphrasing can be another way of referring to a source or a scholar or what they are saying. So either direct quotations or paraphrasing, or even summarizing. Sometimes you might summarize certain concepts being said by other scholars. So you can summarize them as well if you want, and then you refer to them in between brackets the name of the scholar and the date. So you either summarize what the scholars have said, paraphrase what they have views, or give quotation marks. And as I said earlier, that you have to disagree or agree with what they are saying. It's not only copy and pasting. You need to express your own opinion, whether you agree with one or disagree with another. And also, not only that, agreeing and disagreeing with these sources, but if there is an important point which they did not themselves emphasize or they have overlooked, and you think that you want to you want to elaborate on or focus upon. And that is how you read a text and how you converse with sources that you read in a book or in a journal.